Hi, it's Kai. Today we are going to be doing another Talking My Trash video, which is what I like to call my empties videos. We do some lifestyle items, beauty items, fragrance, basically everything that I finish up in a month. And it is time to do it again because my empties basket is overflowing. I've definitely emptied a lot of things. Even my fragrance empties, little cup is pretty full right now. Since I'll be moving in a month, I've been really trying to finish some items that were close to being finished, and anything that was under 50% full, basically that was a body care item or even some fragrances, I've been trying to use and get out of my collection so that it's one less thing to carry along with me to a new place, and I will start off not being as cluttered as I have become in this space, you know what I'm saying? Especially since I want to downgrade my space and be somewhere that's a little smaller so that it can be a little bit more manageable. But anyway, let's just stop the chatter and get into it. Since it's right in front of me, we're going to start off with fragrances today. Why not? I usually end with my fragrances. The first one here is Skylar Salt Air, their Eau de Toilette. This is their old rollerball packaging, so you can imagine how long I've had this one. And I love this fragrance along with a lot of Skylar fragrances. You guys know that I just haven't purchased them because of their stance on certain things not aligning with my personal stance on them, and so I've been trying to finish some of my Skylar fragrances even if they haven't officially been in my project pan, and this is one that I have finished. I do really like it. It's one of those light, airy, crisp, slightly floral, and maybe a little bit woody. It's not as woody as some of the other kind of marine aquatic fragrances or fragrances, in this category, but it has, a hint of woods underneath, kind of like that drift woody beachiness, I do really like this one. However, I have other fragrances in the same category that I also like, and I don't feel the need to repurchase this one. And if I did want something that smells super similar to this, I feel like Lake and Sky 1111 Azure actually smells a lot like this one with just a hint of the original Lake and Sky 1111 DNA. And that might make me like it actually a little bit more because 1111 is one of my favorite fragrances. I love that fragrance down, but yeah, I'm glad I had it. I'm glad I finished it, but it's not one that I will be repurchasing. One that I definitely will be repurchasing if I don't get it sent in PR, because Kayali does occasionally send me some things in PR, and I'm very grateful for it because I do have some fragrances from them that I really enjoy and that I run low on. And also I've just been liking a lot of what Kayali's been putting out, but I did finish my Yum Pistachio Gelato. This is one that I purchased myself. I know it was a polarizing fragrance. I feel like Kayali can be a polarizing brand just in general, but I remember the hoopla that this fragrance caused, especially over on Fragrance Talk. And when I finally tried it, I was just like, it really didn't need to be all that. It is a nice fluffy marshmallow fragrance, but there is something that kind of translates a little bit to coldness to me. Some people have said that it kind of smells like aftershave or something like that. I don't really get those undertones at all, but I could maybe understand, like there is maybe a clean aspect to it. Like I can see maybe that if I squint my eye really, really hard, but I just don't get that out of this fragrance. Not necessarily discounting other people's experience because we all have different noses, but that's not what I get. I do get a little bit of a nutty pistachio. The first time that I smelled it, I was actually just kind of like, okay, calm down, because I am allergic to nuts, and pistachio is one of the nuts that I'm allergic to. Sometimes when I smell things that are nutty, my brain almost has like the response like I'm allergic to it, even if I'm not, actually having a reaction. Fragrance has actually been a really good way of training me out of that, because I think that's just like a panic or anxiety response from one of my laundry list of anxiety disorders. So I think that if you kind of have that as well, because I don't believe at this point there is any way to like extract the scent from a nut specifically to put directly in a fragrance, that it's pretty much a fantasy accord that's not going to have the proteins that would make you have an allergic reaction. If you also are like that but want to explore more nutty fragrances, I think this, or just nutty fragrances fragrances in general could be a way to help through that response if you are also unfortunately a peanut and nut free like person like me. But it definitely has a little bit of that nuttiness and then a mixture of kind of a fluffy, it says gelato. I mean, gelato, it kind of is a little bit marshmallowy even. It just kind of falls along those lines. It's a little bit, I wouldn't say powdery, but I could see like, oh, it has like a dusting of powdered sugar on the top, you know. I really do like this fragrance a lot, and I, like I said, will likely repurchase at least a travel size of it at some point. I do need to finish some of the other fragrances that I have. I'm trying to get to the point where I whittle it down. Eventually, it'll take a long time, but whittle my collection down to mostly the fragrances that I'm just like, I really like this. Or not even just really like, but like I love wearing this, and it's kind of unique compared to other things in the same category, if that makes sense. Moving along, I finished one of my Scentbird vials, which I don't purchase from Scentbird anymore either because the CEO has questionable, you know, beliefs. But Confessions of a Rebel Bite Me. This is kind of a caramel apple fragrance with a little bit of powderiness to it. However, the longer that I had this, and I guess the more that it aged in my collection, this is the old Scentbird packaging, so I've had it for quite a while, but the longer that I had it, the more that I realized it is a little bit too sweet, a little bit too caramelly, gunk up in your teeth, a little bit too cloying for me personally, and even the powderiness that is in here is something that is just a little bit heady and off-putting to my nose. So I think people who like a really gourmand candy apple fragrance will like this, or caramel apple, not even candy apple. Or are those the same thing? I feel like I've asked that question before, and I feel like I've definitely looked up before whether a candy apple and caramel apple are the same thing, but for some reason the answer is just not sticking with me right now. But if you want a caramel apple, like almost a caramel apple with whipped cream on top, then I think you would enjoy checking out that scent. Another finish from Skylar, actually, this is the newer Scentbird packaging, but this is Indigo Valley, which was a blueberry mocha type of fragrance. And in my opinion, the blueberry note was a little bit more generic fruity than it was specifically like blueberry or stone fruit. It didn't even give, you know, kind of like a plumminess. You know, sometimes blueberry scents and plum scents can kind of start smelling a little bit similar. It didn't really have that. Again, to me, it just kind of smelled like generic fruity. The idea of maybe blueberry, but you mostly get the mocha, a kind of coffee with a little bit of creaminess, but it's mostly a very strong coffee. I think people who like coffee scents would enjoy this fragrance. I don't know if it's still available or if it's been discontinued, but again, I feel like people who like a strong coffee fragrance would like that fragrance. But if you're someone who wants your coffee mixed with other notes, with florals, things like that, I feel like that one has some of those in the background, but it's definitely a little bit more on the just coffee side of things, you know. Then there's Daukens Arome Choco Cherry, and I don't know if this is going to be a part of their rebrand because I recently saw that they had their website shut down and everything, and that they're doing some rebranding. But this was like Count Chocula cereal with cherries in it. It was definitely kind of one of those milky chocolates, and then it had the cherry on top, but it wasn't a cherry that ended up being too syrupy or too artificial and like cough syrupy. Is this a fragrance that I necessarily would have repurchased or that I even loved wearing on myself? Not necessarily, but it's definitely a fun fragrance to sniff. And I think there are sometimes fragrances like that that are okay to own or okay to try. It's just like, I wouldn't necessarily wear it day to day, but I could see someone who would, and I respect that person. And also, this is a fun fragrance just to sniff in, you know, So Theory. Next is a Project Pan finish, which if you've watched my last video, which was my Project Pan update, you already know about this one, but I did finish Val Factor. I like to call this kind of a modern rose fragrance because it is a green, dewy rose that also has some warmth in it and also has a little bit of fig and creaminess from a fig. It's definitely unlike any of the other rose fragrances that I have, and I really enjoy this. The only reason I was trying to finish it is because I have a full size that I want to rip into. The full size bottle is just so cute, and I also have its sister in Honey Sweet, so I will now get to have the two of them displayed together, even though now I'm actually waiting. I know I said, oh, I'm gonna wait until I finish this one to open the big packaging, and now I'm just like, okay, I'm going to wait until after I finish moving to open the big package, unless there's an event or something where I just feel so called and drawn to wearing that fragrance too, you know? Lastly, we have Sid Botanica Suspended Water Lily, and this is one of those really like interesting, edgier type of watery fragrance, and not edgy in that it has any like deeper, smokier notes, but edgy in that it just doesn't smell like your classic like marine floral linens type of scent, you know? It has a little bit of a grungy greenness to it. It's definitely giving a little like pond nymph, you know? There's still like a light etherealness to it, but it just has a little bit of that like, I don't want to say mossiness because it's not mossy necessarily, but it just is a little bit more of a grungy greenness. I need to find other words to describe things that are mossy but aren't necessarily moss notes, unless this does have a moss note that I'm just not remembering. Either way, I think if you like those type of watery fragrances, but you don't want something that's too salty marine or that kind of pulls maybe a little bit more traditionally masculine. I don't gender fragrances. I don't like to gender fragrances. Sometimes that's necessary to kind of describe where a lot of people's brains are with them. It's definitely one that because of the florals in it, it smells more like pretty fairy ethereal like versus being one of those like fresh marine salty type of airy fragrances, you know? Okie dokie, that's all the fragrances. So now into the bucket, and I don't think I'm gonna go in any particular order. I'm just gonna start pulling things off the top. So I do have some laundry on the top, but I also have some beauty items. The first thing is this Rael heating patch for menstrual cramps. It was basically like a hand warmer that you could, like it had an adhesive patch to put on the inside of your underwear. Unfortunately for me, if I like opened it, like when I opened it and felt it in my hand, I could feel it heating up and it felt a little bit warm. But for my body heat, and especially as someone who has more intense menstrual cramps, who has more intense menstrual cycles in general, this was just not enough for me. I much prefer their roll-on product. I can't remember the full name of it right now, but this one, I just feel as though if you don't need a lot of heat, then maybe this might be something that's good for you. But honestly, like no shade, and I got sent this from them, but honestly, I feel as though this would be better off being a hand warmer. And also you get 3 of them. I feel like I could go buy those big packs of hand warmers and then just like stuff some of them in my period underwear, and they would probably stay, you know, in place generally, and that would maybe even work better. So unfortunately, these weren't a hit for me. I don't even know what brand it is from, but I finished a whole, what do you call it, roller. This was, you know, that gets the hair off a sticky roller for clothes, lint roller. The brand is Scotch-Brite. That's what I thought it was. So just a regular sticky roller, but I thought this was remarkable enough to say because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, usually lose these before actually finishing them. So the fact that I finished a whole roll without losing it, I wanted to memorialize it in a video. So I'm happy about that. I finished this Playa Healing Hair Mask. It has kaolin clay and amla oil, and honestly, I really liked this. It was deeply nourishing for my hair, and I felt like, especially when my hair was a little longer like it is now, when I put this on in the shower, did the rest of my shower, and then washed it out, I feel like it just looked so healthy, and my hair, like, the curls just looked like they were popping even before adding other product on it. I think I got this through like an influencer box or something like that. I also got their hair scrub and I liked that a lot. I don't even know if the brand is still, oh my gosh, my microphones, the little clips on the back of them broke. And so I tried to fix them as much as I could, but now they're just like a little loose. So if I do too much movement, they fall everywhere. So we're gonna have to work with it, or I have to like hold it in my hand the whole time, and I feel like that's really awkward with how much I talk with my hands. Anyway, moving back to this, I did not really know who Playa, I still don't even know who Playa is as a brand, where you can purchase it even. I think I maybe had seen it at Sephora at one point, but yeah, I actually feel like the products are pretty good and I don't feel like anyone talks about them. So like, what's up with that? Is it just they don't have good marketing, or you know what? I finished 2 packs of Glade plugins. The first one is Sky and Sea Salt, and I usually try to keep one of the little things to kind of jog my memory of exactly what it smells like. This was one of those really light, airy, kind of crisp marine smelling scents. There was a little bit of an underlying muskiness to it that I'm not sure I loved exactly, so I don't know that I would repurchase this. And then these, I think I have actually talked about before, the Dewdrop Petals. I don't know why that word did not want to come out, but the Dewdrop Petals scent, I'm pretty sure I had a client who I went into their apartment and their apartment just smelled so good, and I couldn't see any plugins like directly out, and it smelled so good that I asked them, I was like, hey, your apartment smells great, what does it smell like? And they were like, my wife gets these. And I've been trying to search for a scent. I thought that even one of the Febreze ones was similar to it, but I'm pretty sure this is the exact scent that they had. It is just a very fresh, clean, but floral scent. It's not quite like clean linen, you know, and I love that the scents for the plugins and such are starting to get out of just being like clean linen, a like Hawaiian tropical type one with, you know, papaya or some type of tropical fruits, you know, and what else they would usually do, maybe like a little bit of a woodier type of one. So I'm happy that we're starting to get some floral scents, even fruity floral ones. Like, again, fragrance is the future, I think. Speaking of fragrance, I also tried these Dollar Tree, because I like trying laundry products from all different price points, all different types of places. And for a lot of people, the Dollar Tree is where they can get, you know, laundry products for their situation. And I feel as though no matter what someone's budget is, they should still be able to have fun with their laundry. They should still be able to have fun with their fragrance, with their bath products, with their self-care, like, you know, those types of things. This is the laundry fragrance booster from Homebright. It is the spring linen scent, and it does smell a lot like Snuggle, like just the straight up Snuggle brand, like the original Snuggle, if that makes sense. I feel like we've all smelled what Snuggle fabric softener smells like. It smells like that. Is it the most like long lasting on the clothes? I wouldn't say so. I used them on my towels earlier, and they have like a faint fresh scent to them, but it's nothing that is too like in your face, you know? So I feel like if you want a little bit of a fragrance booster, or you have some items that maybe need a little bit of additional fragrance power added to the laundry, then this might be a good product for you. And you know, you don't want something that's too overwhelming with scent. It didn't leave any buildup or anything on my towels and laundry or anything like that. It dissolved completely. So as far as that, it's perfect. And I do really like this scent. Like, I know I need to throw away the bottle, but part of me is just like, if I keep it just to smell it, is that a bad thing? Am I gonna wear a hole through my brain. Next is the Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Basil Scent Hand Soap. This did last a really long time because a little goes a long way and it suds up really nicely. This is maybe a little bit more drying than what I like for a hand soap though. I definitely had to always reach for some hand lotion, which is a good thing because I have a hand lotion in my project pan. So I was able to finish that or get closer to finishing that up or use that up quite a bit because of that. But I prefer something, especially with how much I'm washing my hands with pet sitting, I prefer something that's a little bit more hydrating so that my hands don't get cracked, especially since this will be my first winter pet sitting. So I don't know how, like, I have gloves and everything, and I am gonna try to, you know, get with a really good cuticle cream and cuticle oil. Like, I have a good cuticle oil, but the consistency of me using it is not good. So I'm going to try to get on that, keeping my hands and stuff moisturized for the winter time. But that is just, again, for me, a little bit of a, you know, ding against it, even though it smells really good. I would love to have the laundry products that they have in that scent. Like, I love that scent so much. It's a little bit of a herbaceous, but still kind of florally basil scent. But again, because it's a little bit more drying to the hands, I don't know that I would purchase some of the other scents. There's also the Homebright Refreshing Fabric Rinse. This is like the Dollar Tree version of a Downy Rinse and Refresh. And honestly, worked pretty similarly, didn't leave a film on my clothes or anything. It doesn't leave a lot of scent, and admittedly, this does have a clean scent, but it's a little bit more of a vintage clean scent, if you catch my drift. Like, I like the way that it smells, but I also like the way mothballs smell. So I feel like you kind of have to be a little bit judicious with how you might like a certain clean scent, especially if I describe it as kind of smelling a little bit more vintage. But again, no gripes with it. I mean, it does last maybe like 4 cycles, but again, with the Dollar Tree products, even though the prices have gone up on them, the Dollar Tree products are really affordable. So someone can get those, you know, maybe if they have smaller paycheck. I know even with myself, with pet sitting, sometimes after paying rent, if I didn't have any pet sitting gigs around the end of the month or the first of the month, then sometimes there's a few days before I get any payment coming in and I can't do like get all of my stuff that I need, but you know, I might still want to wash my clothes and want them to smell good. I am understanding that that's the situation for people. I've talked about this before. This is the double duty litter deodorizer from Arm & Hammer. I love this along with wood chip, the wood pellet litter, to keep my apartment from smell. Like, you will smell the wood pellets, but I like the smell of wood pellets personally, and that's better than the smell of cat pee and poop. So I feel like this is really good for helping eliminate odors. It's good for putting at the very bottom of the litter box so that you don't have those areas where the litter gets stuck to the bottom and the pee gets stuck and all of that. So again, I've talked about that multiple times. I feel like we don't need to talk about it again. Similarly, I've talked a lot about OxiClean. I love OxiClean. I usually get the Odor Blasters one because I sweat a lot. I have stinky towels and things like that. I like to get the smells out of things, and I just like things that smell good. This just has a little bit of an alpine scent instead of just smelling like straight, you know, OxiClean, you know what I'm saying? But I really like this. I continue to repurchase it. Again, not much to say outside of it helps get stains out, helps get my clothes really nice and clean, and prevent underarm, this freaking mic, underarm stains and all of that jazz. Oh, I finished another one of the Dewdrop petals as well that was hiding at the bottom. I had to work, so let's ignore the fact that it is now dark outside. Next, I have the EcoTools Instant Dry XL Daily Brush Cleaner. This is the large refill of the smaller brush cleanser, which I do have like the small little spray, what do you call it? But I enjoy this. I feel like it's a good alternative for the Cinema Secrets. It is not an exact dupe, or I would say a dupe at all, because the Cinema Secrets one, if I'm not mistaken, is alcohol based, and this one has a few different oils like jojoba seed oil, tea tree oil, and macadamia ternifolia. I think that's how it would be pronounced. Ternifolia seed oil. So this is more of an oil based cleanser, and while I find if I am spraying it on my brushes, it does not make them oily or anything, and I don't find them to really make my brushes oily. I have had a few people, when I talked about this on my Instagram, I did have a few people express that this made their brushes feel oily. However, they were dipping their brushes in and then rubbing them out, so I'm guessing that maybe using just a few sprays is enough to get the actual like pigment and the makeup out of my brushes without leaving too much residue. So again, something that is similar-ish in function. It's not an exact like copy of the Cinema Secrets one, but it's less expensive, and that's kind of what I'm going for these days. I'm just going for something that is going to get my brushes clean without being too much of a hassle. Of course, in the way of more laundry, I have the Ariel with Downy. This is, what do you call it, powder laundry detergent. And powder laundry detergent and powder products in general, I feel like are a recession hack. They last so much longer than liquid products do, even like the big jugs of liquid products. These bags, this is how much? 3 kilogram, which is about 6.5 pounds. This 6.5 pound bag, I'm pretty sure lasted me about 3.5, almost 4 months. It gets my clothes clean. It has a nice like floral, powdery, clean smell to it. I love Ariel laundry detergent. It is probably one of my favorite laundry detergents. I'm someone who likes to switch out my laundry detergent a lot and, you know, try new things and everything, but I really do love the Ariel laundry detergents. And if you're looking for something that is going to get your clothes clean, it's going to help them smell really nice. Even on its own, it's not like the strongest scent, but it definitely leaves a little bit of a soft floral linen scent behind on the clothing. So if you're someone who doesn't want to have to add a whole bunch of other products, this one has a little bit of scent to it, but it cleans clothes really well, and a little goes a long way. It lasts for months, and you won't have to repurchase it, you know, after just 1 month or so. So again, really like Ariel laundry detergents. I have these Purex cherry blossom and ginger, what do you call it, scent beads or in-wash scent crystals, I guess is theirs, but it's just another brand of scent boosters. I did like this scent. It's a nice bright floral scent. You get a little bit of a kick of ginger, but it's not something that's super spicy, I would say. It's just something that adds maybe a little bit of aromaticness to an otherwise very floral, clean type of laundry scent booster scent. However, this one I didn't feel like stuck on the clothes that well. It was one that I feel like pairs really well with Ariel to give like a nice light floral clean scent to the clothing, but just through the dryer, I didn't feel like this stuck around quite as much as as I was washing my clothes, I could really smell it in the air. And then again, once the clothes went through the dryer, I don't feel like I smelled as much of this, especially when I wasn't using it with the Ariel, when I had used another laundry detergent that didn't have the Ariel scent to it. So if you're looking to boost the scent of the Ariel laundry detergent, this might be a good scent booster to look into. But if you want something that has more of a long lasting, a little bit more of a potent scent to it, then I don't think this one is going to be the one for you. I'm pretty sure this is the last laundry cleaning product. It is Audubon. Have I talked about Audubon before? I feel like is this my first bottle that I finished? It might actually be my first bottle that I finished. Anyway, I am in love with Audubon. I would kiss this. I want to kiss this. I am just so attracted to Audubon, if I'm being completely honest. It just smells so good, and I love that you can use it for everything. I love that you can use it as a sanitizer and disinfectant for things as well. I love that you can use it for deodorizing. I love that it is pet safe. This scent is the fresh linen scent. This one in particular just has that really, really like bright, fresh, clean linen look, like almost kind of like the Snuggle laundry detergent, but like even brighter and more aromatic than that. It just smells so good. And again, I love that I can use it on every single part of my house. I can use it to mop my floors. I can use it to get stains out of the floor. They even have one that is specific for pet stains and stuff like that. They have carpet specific deodorizers that are more heavy duty, but you can still use this for deodorizing the carpet. You could use this in a carpet cleaner. So I'll probably, when I'm moving out, you know, do a shampoo of the carpet with regular shampoo and then another shampoo with this just for the odor, you know, what do you call it? Since I do have a cat in here and I know some people are allergic to pets, the next tenant might be allergic to pets, and even though they say they're going to, you know, do a carpet clean and do all of that stuff, I do feel as though in the past, I have left apartments so clean that they have been able to turn them over almost immediately without having to clean them. Like that's just kind of how me and my family has always rolled. So again, I feel like this will be a good product if you do have kind of pet odors and stuff like that going on in your carpet. This might be a good product to look into to kind of combat that if that's something that you're trying to combat or, you know, get out of your carpet or whatever it is. But you can use this on basically everything. I love that it smells good. I currently have a different scent, which is the Cotton Breeze one, which essentially smells just like a different type of laundry detergent. It kind of reminds me of the Purex Mountain Breeze scent of laundry detergent because that was the one that my parents used pretty much my entire childhood. And I feel like when you mop and clean with this, you do smell it in the air for a little while after. And you can also use this as an air spray. Like you again, you can just use this so many different ways. I feel like it is the ultimate cleaning product, and I will probably always have a tub of Audubon in my house, some scent of it. I finished 2 body lotions, both of them vanilla kind of cupcake or cake batter scented one. The first one is Cake Beauty's Heavy Cream Body Balm, and I did really like this one. It has a nice rich kind of buttercream cake type of vibe to it, or buttercream, I guess, cupcake vibe. But there is something which I have always maintained with this product. I've talked about it multiple times on other platforms, but there is a certain lightness of this that reminds me of those As Seen on TV things where they had the cake molds where you put the yogurt filling on the inside. So it reminds me of one of those. Like you have the cake batter, you have the sweet gourmandness from that, but then there's also something a little bit light and creamy in the background and almost like yogurty that reminds me of the filling in one of those cakes. But I really do like the formulation of this. It is nice and thick and creamy without being too hard to work into the skin, and it does feel nice and nourishing on the skin. The only thing that I don't like is the packaging, and it's not really a big deal or a big change that I would propose they make to the packaging. It has this, you know, what do you call it, which I actually don't mind the squeeze bottle. Even though I cut it open, even before cutting it open, I was able to get a lot of the product out of this. But the bottom, like the hole down here, is just a little too small for how thick and creamy this product is. However, if I just screwed off this hole, is big enough for, you know, squeezing it out. So I just feel as though they could make their cap a little bit simpler and have it be a twist on and twist off cap, even though I do feel as though the flip on and flip off cap might be a little bit more accessible to people. So maybe just a flip on and flip off cap that has a wider hole than this, because this is a nice thick creamy formula and it needs packaging that, you know, backs up how nice and thick and creamy she is. The next lotion is the beloved EOS Vanilla Cashmere. I'm pretty sure that this is one of the ones that I've purchased myself because I've purchased them myself and I purchased quite a few of them myself, and then EOS noticed that I loved their lotions and started sending them to me, so I accumulated even more of them. But I'm pretty sure this is one of the Vanilla Cashmeres that I actually purchased myself, and now I'm moving on to some of the ones that have been sent to me, which is always really nice when brands that you love and that you patronize also kind of pour into you as well. And when I get sent things, you know, I have a lot of lotion. I probably won't need to buy lotion for at least a year or so with how much lotion I've been sent, even just from EOS. And you know, that does, as I've talked about before, I know something that a lot of influencers say is that PR doesn't pay the bills, and I'll maintain that it doesn't pay the bills. I will also say that there are instances in which PR keeps me from having a higher grocery bill, or, you know, higher, what is that, self-care, whatever it is. It keeps me from having to buy lotion myself. And again, it's something that now I'm not paying $10 every, you know, few months or however long it would take if I wasn't constantly bouncing around lotions and body care products. But, you know, it does take an expense out, so I do like to recognize that. Anyway, Vanilla Cashmere, it's beloved for a reason. It's a very nice, deep, heavy, creamy, cakey type of scent. It smells like cake batter. It's definitely a little bit more dense and sweet than the, what is this one? The Cake Beauty one. So I would say if you want something with a little bit more lightness, you might like the Cake Beauty one better. If you want something that has more of that ooey gooey vanilla gunk into your teeth, then you will like the Vanilla Cashmere. I do like the formula of the EOS lotions as well. I don't feel like they're a heavy like body cream consistency. Before a lotion, they are definitely something that keeps me moisturized. Next are two Bioma products. I have their Barrier Repair Treatment with avocado oil, barrier lipids, ectoin, and squalane. And this I really did enjoy. I would potentially repurchase, but I do have some other face mask or overnight barrier repair treatment products that I need to finish up before I think about repurchasing any of them. This is another one where the biggest gripe I have about it is the packaging, because I found that just the formula of it, which I do kind of find with some of the pump packaging from Bioma, it's not quite as reliable as, you know, other products or just pump products from other brands in general. I just find the pumps usually get stuck, and I don't know if that is an instance of the product being too thick for the type of packaging. It's like almost like there's not enough of a press down. Like there needs to be more, this needs to be longer to allow for more to come through, because this product in particular does have, even though there is a little bit of like a light fluffiness to it, it definitely is a creamy texture, and I feel like that makes it difficult for it to come out of this. So I ended up having to just, you know, take this out, and I think it's supposed to be one of those airless pump type of things, but I just ended up taking this out and, you know, what do you call it, banging it on my hand, or even when it got toward the very end, using my beauty spatula to get in and scoop out some of the remaining product. But I did like this. I feel like this is a really good overnight mask that doesn't make my face feel slick or more Vaseline kind of slugging like. I do feel nice and hydrated. My skin looks moisturized and glowy, but it just doesn't have as much slip to it as some other overnight hydrating products can. So again, I do enjoy this and would repurchase it. And then the other Bioma product is their Phytomucin Glow Serum. This has triceramide complex, phytomucin, panthenol, and peptides. This one I also did enjoy and would repurchase. I think this one is really good for the summer and even springtime, like the more warmer months, because it does have a lighter, it's like more of a clear, kind of reminds me of those mucin-y textures. It's not super liquidy, but it's also not one of those more thick and creamy serums. It's just kind of like one of those. Again, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the texture of the snail mucin serums. However, this is phytomucin. It's not made out of snail, so if you're allergic to those, then this might be a good alternative for you. And this is also definitely less sticky, and I'm a person who doesn't necessarily mind the stickiness that comes with some of those snail mucin serum products, but this one definitely is less sticky while still having the same hydration hydration and texture and everything. So I really like this serum. I would repurchase it. I have another serum that I'm currently using from the Inky list, which I have 2 products that we're about to talk about right now that they sent me because I talked about their products on my other channels. But yeah, I do enjoy this and would repurchase it. I also feel like it's fairly affordable. I want to say it's like $15 or $16 at Ulta, which is pretty much on the lower end of things at this point. Like I said, we have 2 the Inky list products. The first one is their polyglutamic acid dewy sunscreen SPF 30, and I do sunscreen wear tests and like show me blending it out and putting it on my face over on the Clock app for pretty much every sunscreen that comes in my collection. So if you see it in here, then it's gone on there. And I also show, I don't know if I've talked about it before, and I know it's kind of like shameless plugging, but I often put on my Instagram stories the products that I'm finishing, like as I'm finishing them, and give a short little like written summary of what I think about them. So if you want to see those as they come up, then that's on IG. But I talked about this and showed this over on the Clock app and expressed how much I really enjoyed it. I really like that the texture is thick without being super greasy, and while you can feel it on the skin, it's definitely something that feels a little bit more substantial. I don't feel like it's necessarily heavy. It doesn't make my skin or eyes sting or anything like that. The only thing is it's not necessarily water resistant, I wouldn't say, and sometimes when I'm sweating you can like see the little ring around my face. Otherwise, this is one of my favorite sunscreens that I've tried this year, and I liked it so much that they actually sent me another bottle. So once I finish the sunscreen that I'm currently using, which is the Tony Moly ultralight one, I do like that one as well. More, again, I showed that over on the Clock app, like me applying it and everything, and when I'm done with it, I'll do a little summary on it. I don't know why in particular I really like doing little wear tests and kind of quick, like here's how it blends in and how it's looking on me. I've been wanting to do a whole series of kind of shorter little application videos to show like this is what this product looks like blended out on me. This is how it blends out with XYZ brush finger or whatever, but I just don't know if that's something people would be interested in seeing. Anywho, the next product is the PHA toner from the Inky list as well, and I did like this, but I think it is a little bit too gentle for my skin. So I feel like if you're someone who wants something that is, what is that call it? Exfoliating. If you want something that is exfoliating but your skin gets a little bit more sensitized easily, or you just have sensitive skin in general, I could see something like this being a good introductory product, or even just a good product in general for you, because while it does help resurface, like I'll notice the next day that some of my what is that called, like texture on my skin, those little marks that are, I guess they're kind of pimples, but they're just like the little small like ones that get in certain areas, I'll notice that those are getting smaller, or that that texture has gone away. But for more intense pimples, ones that are really raised, that are kind of like under the skin coming up, they're red and juicy and everything, this doesn't really give me the results that I'm looking for as far as exfoliating my skin. So this is again something that is more so a light exfoliant for maybe the off days when you don't want to go in with a super heavy exfoliant. I feel as though you could probably, even though you shouldn't use exfoliant every single day, this is one where if you did use it multiple days in a row because you were trying to exfoliate your skin and this is like the product that you have, you probably wouldn't ruin your skin barrier outright unless you had other things going on, like getting sunburnt or contact dermatitis from another product, or products interacting with each other. I didn't feel any tingling with this at all. A lot of exfoliating products will give me even a slight tingle. This one, not really at all. So it's something good for the people who need a more lightweight, a little bit less intense of an exfoliant. And for that reason, I don't know, I'm on the fence. I could see if I really needed that in my routine, if my skin barrier was compromised, adding that in. But I do feel as though I'm in a place where with my skincare routine that when I exfoliate, because I only do it once or twice a week, I want something that is a little bit more intense, and then I can go multiple days with doing my hydrating routines and then go in with a more intense exfoliant hydrating routines and kind of cycle that way. This isn't a finish, but I am going to throw it out because I just never liked the texture of it. It's discontinued now, but it's the Cocokind one for all balm, and this was supposed to basically be kind of like a Vaseline slugging alternative. But for me, this texture, and not just for me, I remember at the time that being kind of the reviews that were prevailing, is that there is like a grittiness after a certain amount of time of having this. Like the first few weeks or even like a month of having this, it's fine. And then there is just a point at which it started getting really gritty. So I obviously did not want to put that on my face. And I, say, oh, I'll put it on my feet or use it on my body. But even the grittiness, I didn't like it for those things. So I have just been carting it from apartment to apartment, and I resolved that it's not going to be coming with me to my next apartment. So that's going to be thrown out. I finished the Mega Babe Bust Dust Anti-Boob Sweat Powder. And while I didn't use this, at least not exclusively for boob sweat, sometimes I would use it a little bit underneath my boobs, but I don't have a very big chest, so I don't get a lot of sweat, or like the sweat that I get there is like in between where there is not a lot of meat at all, so there's not really a lot for this to hold on to in those areas, which is why I end up putting them underneath and kind of catch the sweat there. But more than that, I like to use this on top of my deodorant. It helps with the sweat underneath my arms, helps keep me a little bit fresher and drier throughout the day. I'm currently using the Mega Babe deodorant, so they kind of go hand in hand, and I don't really get like any irritation or anything underneath my arms. My only gripe about this, along with the products that have been, I feel like that's the theme of this Empties, is not liking the packaging of something. This, what do you call it? It's like a squeeze down with a little hole. It's just a little bit messy. Like I have literal spots of the powder even on my camera, but on my dresser and stuff like that from me just dispensing it and putting it on the powder puff and it just going everywhere. They do, however, have the same formula. Like I've looked at the back and it looks like the same exact ingredients in the same exact order. So I assume they'd be pretty much the same powder of their body powder. And that is in a little flip top, like shake out bottle versus this packaging. So I like that better. Definitely recommend if they do still have this or they're selling both of them. I don't know why they would sell both of them if that's the case, because they do essentially the same thing, and I feel as though it would kind of cannibalize the sales of one another. However, if they both are still being sold and you see this one and you also see the one with the purple flip top on it that shakes out, get the purple flip top. Don't get this one because it just is a lot easier to dispense out of the other one. Next are the Real Beauty Miracle Patches. These are the overnight spot covers, and these are good pimple patches. They don't have any additional actives outside of the hydrocolloid to, target blemishes or the dark marks that will come after, but it's just a pretty nice standard, pimple patch. I feel as though this one doesn't like suck and rip off the whitehead quite as well as some other ones that I've tried. It's not, again, a bad pimple patch, especially if you're someone who's looking for something that's just going to stick on really nice. Like it sticks on really nice, and I would expect it to rip out the whitehead a little bit better for how nicely it sticks on. But yeah, it's a nice kind of middle of the road pimple patch. If you see it, if it's on sale, I could see putting it in my cart for, getting to free shipping or something if I was really close. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it's my favorite pimple patch of all time. I do prefer the one from the Inky list, mainly for the actives that are in it. Then we've got this mini size of the Peach and Lily Ginger Melt Oil Cleanser, and I got the mini size specifically because I've been always interested in trying this since it came out. I've had it on my little Ulta loves list wanting to buy it to try, but with cleansing oils and balms and things like that, and honestly just products in general at this point, I feel like I'm more swayed towards getting a smaller regular travel or trial sample size that is offered, like the smallest size offered first, to make sure that it is something that I like enough to commit to having for a long time, because I'm a person, again, I like switching up my makeup. And while I do sometimes find products where I'm like, yeah, this is my jam, I could use this for months at a time and be okay with it being in my routine, my skincare, makeup, my fragrance, whatever routine for every single day, there are some products where I'm just kind of like, once I finish this, I know for sure I'm going to be trying something else. And when a product lasts such a long time, you know, it can become a little bit of a drag to be using that product. So I have started buying the mini sizes of things more for that reason, so I can actually try it out instead of committing myself to the full size or buying the full size and realizing I don't like it or getting an allergic reaction or something like that and then having to return it and that becoming waste of some sort. So again, this is a more expensive cleanser. I think this size, which did last me over a month. To be fair, I have not been wearing makeup quite as much as I had been in the summer months. I definitely had a little bit, and not just a little bit, a lot of bit of a depressy episode, you know, but it's okay. We're trying to get back on the horse and that's what matters. But I just wasn't wearing makeup quite as much, so it did last me longer. I would say that if I was wearing makeup more consistently, it would have lasted me probably about 3 weeks, which I still think is good for this size, or like a travel size, you know, to almost get a month out of the travel or trial size. This was good at taking off makeup, but it wasn't necessarily a love for me. I did feel as though taking off waterproof, or even not waterproof, but just more stubborn eye makeup, my mascara, things like that, this didn't do quite as well with, and I kind of had to rub my eyes a little bit more. And because of that, I do feel like I was noticing my eyelashes falling out a little bit more and then being a little bit less full than what they usually are. And since I've stopped using this, and you know, honestly, I can't even say using another cleanser because I just haven't been wearing makeup that much, but since I've stopped using this in the past few weeks, I feel like my lashes falling out have slowed down. So I don't know, is that like a product of using less makeup and not wearing as much mascara, or is it just that I was having to tug on my eyes a little bit more than with some of the other makeup removers, you know, using this Peach and Lily one? So I don't think it is one that at this point I would repurchase. Yeah, it doesn't really have a smell or anything like that, and it does take off face makeup and, you know, sunscreen and things like that really well. It was just the eye makeup where I don't feel like it was doing the best job for me personally. Next is the Topicals Clearly Clarifying and Calming Mist. This is a salicylic acid and hypochlorous acid treatment, so it's really good if you have acne and just need to balance the skin on your face, which is exactly what I used it for. It's one that I would use, you know, maybe every other day sometimes, but more so every 2 to 3 days. I don't feel like if you're someone who doesn't really have a lot of acne, that this is going to be the best product for your routine. Like, it lasted quite a long time. I think I purchased this back in January and I'm just finishing it now in October. So it lasts a really long time, and for that reason that might be great for you, but I just feel like there's other treatment products, or like I would rather have something that is in a different spot or more in the serum spot of my routine, you know, because the facial spray for me is something that I want to use to like hydrate and prep for the rest of my routine. And when I was using this, it was more so, okay, like this is going to be my exfoliating step, so I don't want to use like even the Inky-less toner that I was talking about earlier. I wouldn't use these in the same routine. And for the strength of it, well, I do feel like this is, again, was great for clearing up your skin. I feel like it was kind of on par with the PHA toner, maybe a little bit stronger actually, but I kind of on par with it being something that wasn't a more intensive product for me. And when I do exfoliate, I tend to go for more of those intensive products. So it's not something that I feel like has a place in my routine, but I feel like if you're more acne prone, then this probably could be something that would be really good in your routine. I finished the odd hair product because, you know, we're not really finishing a lot of hair products here. But this is the Paul Mitchell Soft Style Foaming Pomade. I actually absolutely love this. I've loved this from before I chopped off all my hair and have been wearing more of this, you know, style. What is this called? I don't know why it's blanking on me, but I really like this because it's nice and lightweight. It almost feels a little bit like a foam or a mousse, which I guess it is a foaming pomade or pomade. How do you pronounce that? I think it might be able to be pronounced both of those ways. But anyway, it has a little bit more of that lighter foaming texture, but I also find that it really defines my curl pattern because, you know, I kind of have a little bit of waves, but they're, you know, I have to get my hair shaped up for them to come through, you know what I'm saying? And I know I probably sound triggering to some of you because that, I feel like, is what your boyfriends tell you about their hair. Like, they just got to get their shape up for the waves to really pop off. But this was a product that, especially once I got my hair freshly shaped up and I washed it, put this on, I just felt like you could see the waves from space. You know what I'm saying? You could see my curl pattern and it just looks so beautiful and juicy. So I really do like this product. I don't need to repurchase any hair care products because I have so many from my years of being natural or like having longer natural hair and trying a whole bunch of other stuff. And I just need to honestly focus on finishing the things that I have. There's so much unused, like it's so much. And especially because Influencer used to send me a lot of hair stuff for whatever reason. But anyway, I have a lot of hair products that I need to finish up, so I probably won't be purchasing that one anytime soon, but that one definitely will be a repurchase once I get to the point where I have whittled down my hair care to only the things that I enjoy. Lastly are two Project Pan products, which we talked about in my previous video, which was the Project Pan, as I've already said, I'm pretty sure in this video. But I have the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Lash Enhancing Liquid Eyeliner in Matte Black. I really like the brown liner of this, or the brown version of this liner. I don't like the black as much. I feel as though it is just not as deep as I would like it to be. And when you go over it multiple times, it takes away some of the eyeliner and gets a little bit streaky versus adding to it, making it darker and bolder and, you know, being able to crisp up that line. It's also felt tip, which it has a nice felt tip, but after a while, the felt tip is going to kind of wear out and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to get that sharper line. So probably isn't one that I am going to repurchase. I have enough liquid liner to not need to repurchase any for probably another few years, but that won't be one that is on at least not the black version. Maybe I would repurchase the brown version, but honestly, I'm at the point where it's just like, if I want most of the time I'm using liquid liner because I want winged liner, and I can do, like, I have the makeup skills to do winged liner even with my pencil or gel liners or just other liner formulas. So when you have that ability, you kind of end up being like, oh, maybe I don't need to have this many different eyeliners or this many different types of formulas of eyeliners. Yeah, each formula might do something a little bit better than others, but as far as going for a certain look, most of the time you can probably achieve it with the products that you have. Anyway, the final product of this Empties video is the Milani Supercharged Cheek Plus Lip Multi-Stick. And I actually talked about this on the Clock app too, because I did a little video about how long it takes you to dig out the remainder of the product. And I don't even feel like I was able to get everything out, but my spatula couldn't go and wiggle any more of the product out than I already did with this. This is the shade Spice Jolt. And honestly, I don't want y'all to have that information because I don't think this product is worth your money. This is such a bad product in all respects. It's supposed to be a lip and cheek multi-stick, but it is so slippy and like oily and greasy. When you put it on your face, number one, it slides everywhere. If you have glasses, like if I were to lay my glasses on top of it, there would be an indentation if I did not set with powder. And even sometimes if I did set with powder, I would still have an indentation where my glasses lay. My glasses, honestly, most of it lays right in here. So the fact that there was a little bit on my blush down on the bottom where my glasses honestly only touch when I'm being really expressive, I don't think that should have been occurring. But it also just looked oily and greasy, like you'd been sweating all day versus a healthy glow. And then for the lips, it again was just so thin that it just slipped around everywhere. You couldn't really build up that much color from it. It was all around just not a good product. And I think this is still available and I just don't understand how. I don't understand how other of their products have gotten discontinued and this hasn't for whatever reason. And if anyone likes this product, I need you to come forward and explain to me why you like it and how you like to use it, because admittedly, I had to hate pan this one. I kind of did have to hate pan it. I honestly used it mostly on the days where I wasn't wanting to wear any major makeup, but still just wanted a little bit of blush because I wanted to add some, color to my face. Anyway, that is all of my empties for the last, month or so? Month and a week, month and 2 weeks. I don't know how long it's been since the last empties video, honestly, but that is everything. And I am going to go drink something because my voice literally feels like Ursula is pulling on it, like she's trying to take it. So I need to go drink some water. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I also hope you're staying safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.